I'm Mickey. That's Candice. That's Gerard. Today we got a great episode for you guys. We got Lex Freeman talking about OnlyFans. We got Taylor Swift, deepfakes, and AI. We got Mike Malice talking trans kids and white women. We got Clips and Gigs talking about slang. But first, we got my main man, Dana White, talking truth. All this and more on Cancel Weekly.
Obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
like...
Free speech.
Hell yeah, brother.
Control what people say? Gonna tell people what to believe? Gonna tell people... I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want and they can believe whatever they want.
If about, like, you...
Yo, how fantastic is Uncle Dana? Gerard, what you think? You must love that, huh?
Yeah, I do love that. Even more so, I think that it's great that people are starting to speak out against what's happening. And there was a time in the not too distant past where that would have caused a cavalcade of apologies, and then sponsors would have left, and then everybody would have got on their knees and groveled to the alphabet police. And you know what would have changed? Nothing. Nobody who ever apologized was ever let back into the good people club. Nobody that ever, quote unquote, did the right thing was ever rewarded for it. So,
right. Does that stuff really change people's minds, or is it just almost like a arbitrary punishment kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's trying to change minds. I think it's just like, you're a bad person, I'm a good person, and I'm signaling that to everybody.
It's that virtue signaling, huh?
Yeah, but I think the UFC is probably one of the last safeguards of reality, because you're getting punched in the face constantly, so there's not a lot of room for interpretation. Yeah, it's like, this is just what's happening. I think what happened with Fallon Fox was really surprising back when that was
She wasn't
thing.
in the UFC.
Oh, she wasn't?
No.
Oh, okay, so there's a level underneath?
Yes, yeah. She was in the regional scenes, but she was a dude beating up on chicks.
Okay.
And then Ashley Evans Smith, who does fight in the UFC now, true female, beat her.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think...
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner and new CMA Female Featherweight World Champion, Ashley Evans Smith.
I think it's actually worse than virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is one thing. That's where it's a fad, okay? And that's I'm one of the good guys, like you said, and it's cool. I'm with you guys. I'm a good guy. Please don't burn my business down. It's worse than that. This guy is part of an elitist class that is trying to...
Which guy?
The
reporter? The reporter. Okay.
All right. It is he represents an elitist class, whether it's academics, the quote unquote mainstream media, however you want to call it, politicians, where they are weaponizing the pain of past injustices to try to use that as a weapon for their own power, right? This guy didn't like what Sean Strickland said, so he went to his boss and tried to tattletale to his boss so that he could have the power of Sean Strickland shouldn't have said that to me. Don't you believe that, Dana?
Well, don't you think it's maybe it's a power dynamic? So obviously the fighter is going to kick that little reporter's butt. Everyone knows that. So it's a weird play of dominance that this reporter has in order to, I guess, he's leveraging social credit in a way.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's I can't be an alpha male in what is traditionally an alpha male sport. So I'm going to try to out alpha you in this new modern way.
Right. These new
which
kind of
is
rules.
Take what you have, right? It's this weird place in modernity where you have this little beta that can take resources from a strong man. And he's doing that by shaming and trying to get him fired and all of that.
It's Iago. It's the Shakespearean bad guy. It's the manipulative backbiter. It's
What's Iago from?
Iago's from Othello. IAGO, Iago. But it's very interesting because we had a clip kind of go viral where we were talking about Yaba Blay, and I don't have white guilt and all this other stuff. And a lot of people supported it. A lot of people probably took it too far in the comments.
I didn't read the comments. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't read them that time.
But then I got DMs. I always hate the DMs where people want to argue with me in the DMs. Argue in the comments.
Argue the algorithms.
Argue in the or really believe in what you have to say. We say everything we believe for everybody to hear. Yeah. You don't get to slide in the DMs and tell me what you really think.
There's so many times after like a podcast, people will message me like their thoughts. I'm like, just put it in the comments, dude. First of all, I already talked about it. Yeah. I'm you know what I mean? I don't care anymore.
I'm done. I'm over it.
They want it's like they want to have their time on it.
But what's interesting is like, and these are a couple black guys, and they're like almost to the effect of like, look, you might be right, but it doesn't mean like that everybody else is okay to say this. And they're almost kind of trying to play it like, look, this is a play that we had to use. Like, look, I don't believe in affirmative action either, but I wouldn't have gotten into college without it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like sitting here going, bro, okay, I don't hate the player. I hate the game.
Right.
We're athletes. Like, okay, man, you found a play that worked for a long time. Find a new play.
It's the tush push.
Find a new play. Find it, because we're not doing it anymore. I am out. The empathy bag is empty. What little was in it to begin with is fresh out. Find a new play.
Well, I'm happy you guys picked the Dana White clip. Last week, I was with him for about an hour. I told him about he's aware of our shows. Huge fan, by the way. But honestly, I knowing him personally, I don't have a bad thing to say about him. I've known him for almost 10 years now. He is that guy. You know what I mean? He's one of the last great American CEOs where he's about free speech, and he's not like he says. He's like leash. What are you talking about?
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Get a load of Mickey sucking up to the boss.
No, I think it's great because there was that.
I love you, Dana.
There was that clip with he was doing an interview with Theo Vaughn, and then Theo was saying that like he lost an advertiser because he had RFK on, and him and RFK are friends. And he's like, "Who's the advertiser?" He's like, "I don't remember." He's like, "Bullshit, you remembered? Like, call them out." Like, really challenging him to like call these people out, and he finally did. And he's like, Peloton. And then Dana went in and got rid of all the Peloton bikes and made this whole thing.
Yeah,
I was like, he is the man.
Love it.
Yeah.
He told him to go fuck themselves.
And he pulled up the CEO of Peloton. It's exactly who you would think it was that had like a problem with you having an opinion or a friend.
I'm not bullshitting you. You can film us.
Yeah.
My guys are going to take the Pelotons out of the gym today.
I love that, dude. Yeah.
We're getting rid of them. We're going to go throw them in the fucking garbage today.
I'll be happy to toss them in.
We're throwing the Pelotons in the garbage. We're throwing them out of the UFC gym.
Yeah, and then last week on to that point with Twitter, the Washington Post, Sports Illustrated, LA Times, all shutting down their most of their daily news desks, and all these journalists who have been actively propagandizing and gaslighting us for 3-4 years are out there looking for empathy out there. And the whole the whole of the internet is like, we're glad this happened to you. We don't want you.
Right.
Go away. In a down economy where all anybody wants is for people to be successful, for things to turn around, for things to get cheaper, for people to make more money, this is an entire industry where people on the center left, the center right, and the right are all like, go away. Do anything else. Learn the code. We don't care. Learn a trade. Do something that is of value to society. To bring Dana White, one more thing. He said one thing that was really brilliant. I forget when he said. He said, why do we listen to these people? Like, what do they do?
Yeah.
They're professional Yelpers. They've never done anything.
Yeah.
All they do is talk and comment on the actions and achievements of other people. They do nothing. Which kind of makes me feel like a comedian. I'm kind of like...
You're providing
a little more entertainment from a comedian, and some comedians could be like modern day philosophers.
I like to philosophize. I like to think of myself as a philosophizer.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You know who else is a philosophizer?
Oh yeah, speaking of the down economy, or I don't know, maybe I should talk more good things about Dana for another few minutes, but I guess we'll transition.
Yeah, hey, look, take the
We'll just
time.
make
Use
this
the
a
platform.
Dana episode.
yeah, we're gonna do a whole Dana episode.
That'll
soon.
be our
We'll get him-
Valentine's
we'll
Day
get him on.
episode.
So
Won't be for Dana.
is it true that Dana White is 13? Well, anyway, yeah.
Well, first he said he'd come on,
Yeah.
and two, he said he's gonna hook us up with some power slappers
Yeah.
too. So I
Well,
made sure I got that. In
Well,
there.
we were walking around SHOT Show too, and everybody was like, they were happy. They were happy about Slick and Thick. They're like, dude, love your show. And then, but they were really excited about Canceled Weekly. And I think Dana was excited to come on Canceled Weekly. And I wonder what's different between Canceled Weekly and Slick and Thick. There's something different. I don't
think
know
it's
what
the
it
format,
is.
man. People love the format.
They like the format.
the format.
They're like, yeah, I'll go on that show. That show's great. I'd love to go on that show.
You know what's funny?
It's all in studio, right?
Since we're still talking about Dana, people come up to me all the time and are like, "Oh, we wish you fighters were getting paid more. You guys deserve to get paid more." Blah blah blah. Shit, I think fighters work harder than any other sport. We have to be a master of 4 disciplines. I think you'd agree with that, Gerard. You have to put in more sweat equity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you have to grind every day. But the thing is,
I think the NFL season is probably really, really tough on the body. But
NFL season is definitely tough.
But the mental, I've said this before, the mental aspect of training without any payoff is something that I don't think anybody that's ever played any sort of sport could put 6, 8, 12, 13 months into training and maintain a high level of training without any sort of output.
If you add it all up, too, it's years and years because, let's say you have a fight for about 8 weeks at a time, right? Let's say 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? That's 24 weeks. And then you have, all that time around that you have to keep building. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're constantly having to, without like a goal, a destination. You know what I mean? You have to kind of keep working and keep grinding. But
it's like fucking for 13 months without nutting. You only get to nut once or twice a year. That's a lot of humping for no payoff, man.
A lot of humping.
A lot of rear naked choking there.
Yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say
was that weird? Why did you shake your head? Was that a bad analogy? Was that a bad metaphor?
It's a move.
It's a move.
It's a move, I swear. It's not what you think.
Yeah, it's not what Vince McMahon thought either.
Yeah, shit. But yeah, what I was going to say was people always are like, wish you guys were getting paid more, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of the nature of it because I think fighters, especially when we start, we would do that shit for free because it's something in us. You know what I mean? It's something in people that you want to go in there and it's that warrior spirit. You want to go fight in front of millions of people and show who you are. It's your art. It's your you know what I mean? It's your spirit. It's all that. And then people get into like their 30s and like, man, like a few more fucking dollars.
Well, that's
here.
the thing. Yeah, I used to say the same thing in the minors, man. And people would come up to me when I was bitching and moaning and shit. And I probably didn't have the best attitude second, third, fourth year in, right? But people were like, man, you're so lucky. I would switch with you tomorrow. I would do that shit for free. And I would be like, man, one, you're not good enough to switch with me. I don't do the shit for free because I'm good. That's number one. Number two, you say that until you're 3 months away from your family on the road with a whole bunch of Dominicans. The first time you're on a 12-hour bus and you're trying to fall asleep and somebody's dip cup comes over because they're arguing over Domino's and you get woken up with someone's spit cup, you're going to be like, man, I need to get paid a little bit more for this bullshit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, everybody would do it for free, until...
To a point. I mean, and at the end of the day, we sign the contracts. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
We signed it.
But I will say, if you guys did kind of get together a little bit, you probably would have a little bit more collective bargaining.
That's the thing, man. Is like people would scab because at the end of the day, some kid who's been watching on TV that all he sees in his mind is to be in the UFC and shit like that. It's so I don't like what I say is it's the nature. A promoter is supposed to try and get you for as little as possible. They're not supposed to try and you know what I mean. It's taken years to build up that way in the NFL and these other major sports.
Sure.
UFC, MMA, it's only been around for like 30 years.
Well, it's kind of the same with porn, actually. So, if you knew some of the rates,
yeah, we've all fucked for free.
We have, and some of us have turned it into a business. But there are people that are charging like abysmally low rates, and it's just like disrespectful to everyone to charge so little. And again, like you could have everyone that would try to say like this is the new normal, this has got to be like the floor for what you pay anyone for this type of a scene. But the same thing, you're going to have someone who comes in at 18, has no idea, thinks they're going to be Jenna Jameson, and they're like, I'll do this for $300. And guess what? The company's going to hire the girl for $300.
Sure.
Oh,
It pulls it down for everybody else.
Do you know how much a spot gets in New York City right now? Like you get past that at
$20.
It's $50
Wait, what do you mean for to go on stage?
To go on stage. Some of them used to be 25. You used to have to host for 50, which meant you were there for 3 hours. But to do a spot was like $25. Like you'd get passed at a club. And that
It's
was like
overpaid if you ask me.
for 10 minutes, and then you'd have to do like 10 shows a night. You'd make $250. You'd spend it all in cab fare and
Bro, if you multiply that to an hour, you're making lawyer money.
That's what I'm talking about. By 10, that's what they would tell you. And you're sitting here going, man, and
They really would say that?
100%. They're like, what? But to your
All right, then give me a fucking hour.
But here's your point. To your point, whenever you would say, hey, look, man, I need a little. How about something for the effort?
Go get some. You get some free chicken fingers.
Yeah, a beer ticket. One. You
Yeah,
get
really?
one. Yeah, and but to the point is there's the market is so saturated with people that will do that time for free. You have no ability to negotiate.
Yeah.
If you're not selling tickets, it doesn't matter. That's all that matters. Like people can rip on, Sebastian Maniscalco or whatever. He doesn't tell no punchlines. Yeah, he sold out the Garden.
Well, does the UFC
5 nights in a row?
Does the UFC have any competition? Is there like an alternative that's mainstream?
You've had Bellator for years. You got the PFL now is making a big push, and ONE FC.
And is that changing rates?
So
for
those
you
are all
guys,
more
or
like
no?
global organizations, while like the ones you're talking about with Fallon Fox are like regional shows. Like that's where you kind of develop and you have your first few fights. How would you? What would be a good like comparison for that? Doing like a show, like an open mic or something, versus Gerard doing a theater.
But has that given you more like negotiating power for rates?
A little bit.
The UFC has so much prestige. There was a guy named Fedor Emelianenko, who everybody really considers to be the greatest.
What was his name?
Wasn't Fedor?
Fedor.
Sorry, Fedor Emelianenko.
Great pronunciation on the last name.
Fedor Emelianenko, who for over a decade was considered to be maybe the greatest pound for pound, certainly the greatest heavyweight ever. And for whatever reason, they just couldn't come to terms with the UFC. I think it had to do with his clothing company. And it's used as a huge knock against him now in his post-fight career that, like, yeah, he was great, but he never did it in the UFC. Like, he never came to the UFC. Like, they hold it over.
Right, yeah, and now...
And Ngannou is doing the same thing.
Right now, it's like the UFC... And I had to explain this to someone, like, just the other day. They're like, what's the difference UFC and MMA? MMA is a sport. That's like saying baseball, football.
Okay.
UFC is like the NFL the MLB. And right now, the UFC, especially like you said with the prestige, it is the kind of head and shoulders above the other ones. There are other ones making a push, and again, it's only 30 years the UFC's been around. So there could always be a changing of the guard, but historically in this past 30 years, the UFC is the main show.
Okay.
Speaking of shows, speaking of fucking for free and the economy, we got Lex Freeman talking about OnlyFans.
OnlyFans empowering or destructive for women?
Jesus. These are rapid fire?
Yeah, just you can't.
I mean, it's probably empowering for the ones that are making a lot of money off it. It probably feels disempowering for others that feel affected by the cultural norms set by women that do OnlyFans. There's my rapid fire answer.
No, it's destructive to even the ones who are making a lot of money, because when you degrade yourself to being just a set of human body characteristics that other people jack off to, it's bad for you and it's bad for them.
I never thought anyone would ever talk faster than Ben Shapiro, but Destiny talks a little bit faster. It feels like it's on 2x.
It might have been.
No, that's regular. I watched the whole thing.
I thought that was sped up.
No.
Can we run that clip one more time?
No, that's how he talks. And then he showed like words per minute, and he had more words per minute than Ben for the whole episode, which is crazy because Ben was the
last guy. So in that clip, that was Lex Freeman, Destiny, and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, it was Lex Freeman's podcast, but he was holding a debate that everyone has been waiting for, which is between Destiny and Ben. So hopefully they do it again, because That is how you heal the world, people, is if you watch that episode and you see two people that you would assume are completely different, like polarities on pretty much everything, and they agree on probably 90% of every single topic. When they disagree, it's like fun and playful and they're excited, and it's like an art or like a sport, and they complement each other at the end. Like, this is how it's done, folks.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, you're describing civil discourse.
It's you got to watch the episode.
What this country was
give it a shout out.
10 out
It's
of
the
10.
Lex Fridman show.
Yeah, it's the most recent episode as of now, but it's the debate between Destiny and Ben Shapiro.
So what's
it's
the story
amazing.
with Destiny? I know a little bit about Ben Shapiro.
Destiny's a gamer, and he was streaming on YouTube and Twitch, and he kind of like shows his process for how he prepares for a debate, and he is one of the world's best debaters. Like, I think, and no one would dispute that.
But he's a gamer.
He also is a gamer, yeah.
So he's kind of like you, were known for something else, but what they're really great at is something different.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
What's she known for? Canceled Weekly.
My
clearly.
wit,
Chatting with
obviously.
Candace. Chatting with Candace is very good, though. Yeah.
Speaking of the people in the comments.
Yeah. Chatting with Candace, you do a great job of chatting with Candace. You really do, especially over
Thank
Zoom.
you.
It's very difficult to keep people engaged.
It is very hard sometimes.
See, I'm a gentleman. It's very hard sometimes. I'm not even going to go anywhere with that.
Yeah, good job.
So,
you did that at dinner with my family one time. So I think like my aunt was like, "Yeah, no, I'm super anal about something," and Gerard just turns to me, he's like, "Out of respect for you, I'm not going to say anything."
really nice person. I'm white trash. But the interesting thing about Lex Fridman, man, is like he speaks so slowly, and it's like every word. It's like he's cross-referenced and beta tested every word in the sentence. OnlyFans, good or bad for society?
Someone's got to balance it out. You know what I mean?
Look, man, we were talking about this before.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be a libertarian till it comes time to actually let people live and let live.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with that just as much as everybody else, right? But I think there's this idea behind being okay with like people being legally allowed to do something. Doesn't necessarily have to be that you support their decision to do it. Those two things are conflated all the time. It's happening right now with the Zins that we're talking about, where they're trying to go after the Zins.
Schools had been inundated with e-cigs, and we took action seeking federal results. Zin is the next battle, and the feds must be ready.
They want war. They'll get war.
Oh my god.
Hey, look, don't touch my nicotine, bruh.
The kid's addicted.
Don't take the kid's nicks.
So
don't take mixed
but
nicks.
there's a big difference between telling somebody, hey, that's not good for you, you shouldn't do that, and hey, that's not good for you, you can't do that, right? Like, would I want somebody that I love to be, monetizing their flesh? I don't think I'd be okay with it, but at the same time, it's not for me to tell them what to do with their own time and their own money and their own body. So I just think if you turn yourself into a depreciating asset, you're kind of priceless. You shouldn't be able to put a price on yourself.
Okay, so what about anyone that performs, though? Like, why are you limiting it just to anything that's provocative? Or I should say explicit, because obviously provocative and explicit are different, but there is an overlap. So if you have someone, let's say like Megan Thee Stallion, who's pretty much wearing nothing on stage and replicating sex moves for a price, like, is that the same on some level? Like,
I mean, it's not
You're
the
selling
same, but
sex?
it's close.
You're selling sex, absolutely.
You are getting towards
People are
that.
masturbating to that, 100%.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. Like, you're not sitting there and like gyrating on the floor and oiled up in a G-string.
Yeah, with talking about the wet ass pussy.
To show your dad. You know what I mean? That's not what that content is for.
Dad, look at this music video I made.
Right.
From
so
they're
both sexual, right? And one's just more explicit. And I think we have this, I'm going to say, overvaluing of saying, well, you're selling your body parts. Well, yes and no. I'd rather do that than sell my soul. I'd rather do that than be at a cubicle for 12 hours a day working for a fraction of it. Like, I am basically a stay-at-home mom because of the decisions that I made, and I'm still reaping the benefits of that brand. So yeah, I would do it all over again because the freedom that has bought me is worth doing it 10 times over.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate.
Of
Although
course.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. Let me play devil's advocate.
It's hard to argue with what you're saying there. But also, before you do that, because I feel how you feel. Like, I have little sisters. I would be mortified.
But you'd be mortified of what they're going to do with their husbands when they get older. That's, you know what I mean?
I know, but I feel like there's something to be said for behind closed doors versus out there for anybody to see.
I guess it comes down to like societal decay, not to sound like some sort of right-wing Christian extremist type of a deal.
Well, you are a right-wing Christian extremist.
If anybody knows me, the greatest football player of all time, unknown cheater. Greatest baseball player of all time, unknown cheater.
Who's a football player? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady, right?
How dare you cheat on Giselle? She is a perfect woman.
No, cheating at football.
He's deflating footballs. Yeah. He ain't do that.
Yay, sports.
He's taking a little air out of the ball.
Which ball is that?
Yeah.
But we're talking about
ball.
sex and relationship, and then you say
he's
cheating.
Not taking any cum
No,
balls.
totally. I totally get what you're saying. I should have been more clear.
Cheating at the game.
He was caught. Now they could say gamesmanship, whatever, but go down, right? Who's the biggest pop star in the world? Kim Kardashian. What was she famous for? Getting fucked by Ray J.
Kim Kardashian.
She's not a pop star.
What would you consider her? Cultural icon, celebrity. Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B.
And that's part of the. I think what was the term you used? Like a degrading or something, like
social decay.
Social decay. Why?
There's no evidence of social decay, and I would actually argue and. Correlation is not causation. I understand that. So don't come for me in the comments. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the more, and this includes sexually liberated, a society gets, the less violent and the more innovation. And you can look at this globally. So if you have some country that is super sexually repressed and you're covering your women up in bags, guess what? Not a lot of innovation happening and a whole lot of violence.
I mean, we use Islamic numbers. So I mean, there's some innovation happening for sure.
What is 1, 2, 3? Are there?
Those are Islam. Those are Arabic decibels.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, and a salami sandwich to you too.
Thanks.
She also said, "Don't come for me in the comments," which
now
is kind of your whole
there.
thing. It's your whole. That's kind of how you made your money.
I feel like there's something where like the fact that Kim Kardashian is one of the biggest celebrities and she just seems like pretty much like a.
It's vapid. So it's vapid.
That was the exact word.
So
took the word out of my mouth.
There's sexuality. There's and look, maybe it's nostalgic for days past, but like, Sophia Loren could be a sex symbol without, fucking, shaking it. Like I don't know, man. I see people twerk and I fucking find it disgusting.
I saw you post that the other day.
I find it disgusting.
I don't like twerking either.
I see the ratchet shit and I'm like, fucking next.
I don't like the face thing. That happened. When did it start getting popular? I feel like I was in high school.
You said twerking? Or
no, like the girls
thing?
making like the stank face when they're dancing. I never understood that because they get like J-Lo posted a video recently and she was dancing in like men's overalls and she's like just like making these faces like who's that for?
Dude, see, I kind of feel like the face is almost like when people are like playing the guitar and they're just like feeling that funk like you know what I mean? I don't know.
Seems really masculine to me.
I think right that more power to you. Don't blame the player, blame the game. Get what you can get in where you fit in, whatever. But at the same time, I feel like we should be and we could be better. I feel like there's people out there that are really doing really incredible things, that are really truly talented, that are working on their art, that are we could be experiencing a modern day renaissance, and instead fucking Lexi Pantera is getting 17 million views for popping her glutes, like to the beat. And look, it's one person's opinion, and I get it. I'm a fucking cranky old white guy. Fine. I don't think OnlyFans should go away, and anybody who makes money on it, God bless. But I also do think that you're proving yourself because you are brilliant, and you are a great podcaster, and you are trying to transition into being seen for more than that, right? And to be valued as equally for who you are and what you are than for what you look like, right?
Well, no, it's all of it though, because you have what's called the halo effect, and that is just human psychology. If you see someone as an attractive person, you treat them better. You're kinder, they're more likely to get jobs, you forgive them more easily. We're just wired to like pretty things. I'm not going to convince someone who thinks that I'm just like a dumb slut because I made those decisions otherwise. Like, they're already putting me in that box. If you are so simple that you think that a woman expressing sexuality automatically negates any other value she has, that's fine. That's your opinion. I'm not going to dissuade you because, again, you already put me in that box. But we're all complex individuals. So to say that something is universally empowering or universally exploitive is just... you're casting a really wide net with that, because it's the same with sports. There's going to be people that are fighting that feel very empowered, like you're describing in art, and then there's other people that maybe it's not that experience for them. And it could be the same with sex. It could be the same with finance. It could be the same with podcasting. Music is a huge industry, right? So that's empowering and that's art for some people, and then other people are getting railroaded.
God, she's so smart.
But even with fighting, we talked about power slap earlier, like, these are guys that are just getting their faces
You're selling your
annihilated.
body. You are selling your body.
I don't think, like, it's,
and
to me,
there's a poll. So Ayla is my favorite, like, statistician, researcher. You can argue that she's not. She absolutely is. And her polls are, like, ironclad, done very well. So she did this poll, and it was on rape and violence. And she had you select your gender, so whether you were male or female, and then would you rather be beat, like really beat, bloody, possibly broken nose, like wrecked, or raped? Almost every single man said that they would rather get the physical violence and be beat pretty badly, and almost every single woman said that she would be raped. So you could say, for you as a man, I'm going to guess that you'd probably side with the men that pulled to the violence for both of you, right?
Yeah, I'm not getting raped.
Same. So what is more
what
disempowering?
does he look like?
Like, universality doesn't really exist in a lot of things.
You said, what's he look like?
When we try to pretend that it does. So you can't say something is disempowering for everybody.
It's the second time this week I've been accused of generalizations. But
and then he's also assuming that you're just like, he goes that you only see yourself as body parts that you're selling. Yes, I can imagine that would be disempowering, but that's not everyone that has an OnlyFans. Like, it's a business for me, absolutely, and I don't see myself as a collection of holes.
No, I think I get it. What I'm trying to say, I guess more than anything else, is that do you want, what type of, if somebody finds their way to that, great, but what do we want to be promoting? What do we want to be?
Authenticity.
So if there's
That's what I want to promote.
If there's a 14-year-old girl watching right now, and she's a big fan of yours, and she wants to follow in your footsteps, would you prefer she went into media or OnlyFans?
It's hard. I get it. Like, if I had a daughter and that was the thing, it's like giving conscious consent, right? It is not easy.
Normalization.
It is not the path of least resistance. Okay, but we're not the generation that invented the one-night stand or casual sex. That has been along forever, around forever.
That's a big jump. That's a big jump from a one-night stand forever to letting people have sex with you on camera.
No, the camera part, the technology part, but we have come from, like, do you want to know what
we've
like
been fucking,
like Christmas, like that whole season before it became like a Christian holiday, like that season, that winter solstice was a giant orgy. That's what we did. We have had sex in front of people, with people, in groups of people, and it was not seen as weird or shameful or sinful. Like, that is kind of relatively new, and not all of the world has always been that way. Is monogamy great? Sure, yes. That probably makes a lot of things a lot easier, right? When it comes to property, who's my kid, all of these important things, raising children, not arguing that at all. But what I'm saying is, we're going back to like what is exploitive and what's empowering, and that's not going to be the same for everyone across the board.
Couldn't agree with you more. Is it possible that one of the reasons why, as a culture, as a species, we, over the last 2,000 years, got away from that orgy and everything like that?
No. Okay, so
is because it caused more problems than it solved?
I don't think so. I think that we have always punished people that don't toe the line. We see that now, and it always evolves. It's like, who's getting punished now? But Utah, for example, was one of the last states to be brought in to the United States because they had all of the Mormons that had multiple wives.
Polygamy.
So they said, until you get rid of polygamy, until you make that illegal,
that's bigamy, right?
we're not going to let you be a state. That's us and they weren't doing anything. There were a bunch of religious people that just thought that they could have more than one wife. They weren't violent. They weren't doing drugs. They had a lot of children, so they still had these family units. It's just it looked differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've done that with the gay culture, but back in like the 90s, like that didn't flip until like the early 2000s, where it was like a huge increase in support. But up until, I don't know how my years down, but it was like 40% of people were like, no, that's, or 40% of people disapproved. And then it like went down to like, 10% or whatever.
Mm. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying more than anything else, I totally understand where you're coming from with this, and I guess what I'm saying more than anything else is it's like a tool, and understanding and respecting the power of the tool, like a gun, right? Should people have a gun? Yeah, I think they should have a gun. Can a gun ruin people? Absolutely. I think it would be disingenuous to say that gun ownership.
For sure, and that's what I was saying about conscious consent. So if you have like this young girl that's thinking about it, it's like don't think that you're going to be rich. Don't think that you're going to be famous, because the stats say neither of those things are going to happen. Why do you want to do that? Why at 14 are you so interested in sexuality like that? That's probably not a good idea. Like that's probably indicative of a bigger underlying problem. At 14, you should be a young little girl exploring, like excited about curiosities and the world around you. You shouldn't be focused on sex at that young of an age. That's way too young. So, that would be my advice.
With Snapchat and everything else, and I think sexualization is happening younger and younger.
Yeah.
I mean, what's her name? Bad Bunny or whatever, Danielle Bregoli, whatever her name is. She was 15 years old.
The minute she turned 18.
Yeah.
It was so gross.
Yeah. So transition out of that. Good luck.
Speaking of authenticity that Candice said about 6 minutes ago, we got some deep fakes on Taylor Swift. Let's see them.
Not safe for work, deepfakes of Taylor Swift that went viral on X, formerly Twitter, are reigniting the debate about artificial intelligence and consent. Here's what happened. This week, several accounts posted obscene AI-generated images of the pop star themed around her attendance at Kansas City Chiefs games. According to Newsweek, many of the images were found on Celebrity Jihad, a website featuring AI-generated celebrity porn. As of January 25th, Taylor Swift AI was a trending topic on the platform. The accounts that made the images go viral have seemingly either been deactivated or gone private, and Swift fans have taken to the site to report the images en masse. Before protecting their post, one of the users, ZV Bear, said, quote, "My Taylor post went viral, and now everyone is posting it. Bro, what have I done? They might pass new laws because of my Taylor Swift post." Several states have made non-consensual deepfake pornography illegal, including Texas, Minnesota, Georgia, and Hawaii. In California and Illinois, victims can pursue creators in court for defamation. While the issue of deepfakes isn't new, increasingly sophisticated AI is making them more difficult to spot. Last October, President Biden signed a broad-ranging executive order to create AI safeguards, including to prevent, quote, generative AI from producing child sexual abuse material or producing non-consensual intimate imagery of real individuals. To date, Swift's camp has not commented on the uproar.
So, Candice, you've been talking about these deep fakes and these deep fake porns. What are your thoughts?
I think that if you get into regulation, you're going to get into some sticky water with that. At what point does it become art, freedom of expression? Or can you not make a painting that's of someone else?
Someone's likeness?
Right. Are you going to start censoring? And then who's the arbiter of that? It just seems like a bad idea. At the same time, I understand feeling violated, but I feel like, I don't know. It's such a gray area.
Have you seen any of these deepfake porns?
No, I haven't.
Have you, G?
AOC.
Yeah?
Yeah. AOC.
Is it still up?
Around. I don't know. I don't think it's impossible.
So quick question. So with the one you saw, the AOC one, is it like people having porn and they kind of superimpose her face on it? Or is it totally AI generated, what we're talking about?
The Taylor Swift is totally AI generated.
But it's supposed to look like real. Like,
it looks like her.
Like it looks just like it could be.
I mean, you know it's AI. Right now, it's not good enough where it's crazy hyper realistic. But it looks. You know it's her.
6 fingers, right? That's the tell. 6 fingers.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at the teeth and the fingers.
6 fingers.
That
they got an extra finger on
AI has a hard time with hands.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But they're getting there. But you know it's of Taylor Swift, but you know it's not Taylor Swift.
Got you. Understood.
Yeah. But also, again, I think it's going to force people to go onto certain platforms. It's going to force you to like make sure that you're verified if you're trying to follow a public figure. And I think it's inevitable, especially as blockchain technology gets more and more advanced. You're not going to find out who did it, let alone take, we have decentralized internet now. We have Starlink. What are you going to do? I think we're fighting a losing battle.
It's almost all for naught.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, pass your laws, okay, but it's not going to stop anything.
Gerard, you love laws.
I love laws.
The more, the better.
The more, the better. Yeah, because if there's one thing we know, laws stop
Makes you
crime.
feel safe.
Yeah. Look, I don't know, man. Taylor Swift, to be honest with you, I'm just fucking sick of her.
You're not.
I really don't care.
Whoa. You're not a Swiftie?
I'm just done with it.
You're not a Swiftie?
Oh, man. It feels like a psyop. Are we positive Taylor Swift isn't AI? Like, has anybody ever seen her actually in person?
True.
I mean, is she attractive? They keep trying to tell me she's attractive.
I think she's so pretty.
What about her is pretty?
Everything. I think she's like classically beautiful. We've done this before, Gerard. It's okay. This is a safe space. We did this with Mia.
You're a Swiftie.
No, like
with Mia.
With Mia Khalifa, and he's like, she's not. Her. Yeah, I'm like, she's beautiful. She sucks, but she's beautiful.
She does suck, boy. Fucking. Do you think Taylor sucks?
Yeah, I think she sucks. The way that she sends her fans after people, like she has mean girl energy.
Oh no, I meant like
dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. If she did, maybe she'd hold on to a man.
That's what I'm trying to say, bro. Like Taylor Swift gives real like energy. She gives like, all right.
Do I have to?
Birthday energy. Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know, man. There's just nothing about her from like her eyes. It's the eyes, Chico. Like all the pictures that she takes.
Because like, they're squinty.
Yeah, the Biden cookies. Like you're looking into those. It's like the eyes of a shark. Like there's no soul. There's no humanity there. It's like all calculated. Everything is calculated. I remember when she was a country music star, and then the second she could ditch that fucking racket and become a pop star, next thing you know, she's wearing. Fucking pleather on stage, shaking it like I don't know, man. I'm not a 30-year-old woman who wants to act like a 16-year-old girl, so I'm not a Swiftie. But
speak for yourself.
Like I just don't get it. I don't understand. She speaks to my sisters love her. She speaks to a generation of women.
I liked Tim McGraw, that song when that came out. That was my jam.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
I like a few of the songs.
Top 5 Taylor songs.
And
go.
Shake It Off. That's a good one.
Shake It
I'm
Off.
feeling 22, and she does the "We Are Never Ever Ever
Getting Back Together." And then what's that? There's another one. She has like the 1989
she's got
album.
some bops.
That's a good one.
T Swift's got some bops.
Yeah.
I guess what I heard. Maybe I'm
Romeo and Juliet. That's a good one.
When I spent some time in Nashville, there's this whole thing where she's like this great songwriter and she writes all her own lyrics. Apparently that's complete bullshit.
Oh, nonsense. I think she writes it all.
Well, you should ask somebody named LP. And then I heard, I don't want to.
Who's LP?
A
writer?
Exactly.
Bro, break it. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
This is Cancel Weekly.
I don't want to be telling tales out of school, but
Tell the tale out of school.
Allegedly.
School's out, brother.
Allegedly Weekly, she would take other artists' songs and then make sure those artists never got off with the label to keep them down enough for her to keep writing.
So shark eyes.
Yeah.
Los Ojos.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
You should ask LP. I think Chris Stapleton wrote a bunch of her songs, but we're not allowed to say that.
I love
what else can we say? Guys, everything we can say, let's say it right now.
It's all allegedly. This is all what I've heard. Sorry, Swifties. I'm just an angry white guy. But that's what I heard. But listen, man, whatever. I'm just really, really, really excited to not have to see her in the booth the football season anymore.
Taylor Swift, Brittany Mahomes and Donna Kelce celebrated the Kansas City Chiefs eliminating the Miami Dolphins in the NFL wildcard clash by dancing to Swag Surfin' along with the rest of the Arrowhead Stadium crowd.
Oh, it's not really even Taylor's fault that I'm sick. It's the NFL's fault. The NFL has done everything they possibly can do.
Well, bro, they want all the Swifties watching the Super Bowl.
And for everybody to watch football, they just don't want us. It's crazy. It's painful to watch these commercials. I sit here and I go, who the fuck do they think is watching football? Like, who's watching? Who do they like? I've turned off games because of the commercial. I'm a compulsive gambler, and I've turned off games because of the. I'm like, nah,
what
I
are the
ain't saying that
commercials?
shit.
Like Dylan Mulvaney?
Oh my god, worse, legitimately worse. I have no idea who they think is watching the NFL. And look, sidebar. I'm just gonna fucking say it.
Trans.
Is it actually illegal for white men to be in commercials now? Did they do that?
Well, yeah,
Is
if
that
they look
something?
like a fool.
They can look like a fool.
Yeah.
Or
They could be wrong about something.
Or it could be two dudes.
Right.
The only time two white people can be in the same commercial at the same time is if they're the same gender and they be making outs. Yeah.
Right.
But
I don't see commercials, so I have no idea.
Yeah, because
I
you
just
don't
stream everything.
Sports.
Sports.
Yeah, and also get on top of that. So the NFL makes you pay for the NFL Sunday ticket, so it's not cheap, right? And then even though you're paying to stream it, they make you sit through the commercials as if you were just watching on normal TV. Crazy. The NFL is, man. I would love. Like you guys were talking about the UFC before. I know a lot of guys want the PFL to push a little bit because it would be great for the UFC to have some actual competition. Guys, but I would love for anything to just upset the apple cart with the NFL.
Wasn't someone trying to do that?
Yeah.
USFL. Donald Trump was trying to do it back in the day. The XFL was
What happened in the 70s, the AFL did it, and then the NFL, they got to the point where
they're
the
making
NFL had to
another
buy
push now, right?
That's what I thought.
Is it the USFL?
Yeah, but they have a partnership as a developmental league for the NFL. The NFL nipped that shit right in the bud already.
Got you.
Yeah, they're basically like football minor leagues now. But anyway, Taylor Swift, AI, awesome.
Look, you mentioned what was it, Dylan Mulvaney? It's a transhuman, right?
Yes. Well, no. Yes and no. Someone with gender dysphoria, I would say no, but I am not a professional doctor.
Right.
My guess is no. My guess is someone who just really wants to be famous.
Well,
so basically Taylor Swift.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I was really only going for a transition.
Hey!
Mike Mallett talking about white women and trans.
I think people underestimate to what extent privileged, especially white women, are willing to sacrifice their children for the altar of status. For them, having a trans kid is like winning the lottery, right? And you laugh, but it's really the case. It's very disturbing. They're the only ones bringing their kids to drag shows because for these affluent white female liberals, awfuls, a man in makeup is like the second coming. And, they're showing dad or their husband or whoever how enlightened they are because this is what corporate media tells them. So they can't wait to bring their kids and show how with the program they are. So they are a menace. And this, in my opinion, is Munchausen's by proxy. They're torturing their kids.
Which they say
for the
doesn't
sake of
exist
status
anymore.
and accolades.
Oofa.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah, Malice is great, man. Malice is great. Constantine Kizin, who was part of Trigonometry. Now, you've been on Trigonometry.
I have been on Trigonometry.
Wow, we're amongst a big deal here. I love Trigonometry. That's a great show.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I'm going to jump right in on this one because I've been saying this for about, when was I on PBD podcast? Like 2.5 years ago?
What's that?
Exactly. But I didn't get any credit for it because I'm not one of the cool kids, but I said this shit from the jump, and this is the truth, and I believe it, and I think it's one of the smartest things I've ever said, but I said it out of actual, pure, unadulterated fear. And I said it when I came out of the New York comedy scene, specifically, and I left. And it dawned on me that if these people are willing to sacrifice their children to be seen as part of the in crowd, as to be part of the cult, what do you think they'd be willing to have done to you? If they're willing to give up
mutilate their child,
if they're willing to sacrifice their children to the altar of woke, what do you think they wouldn't be willing to have done to you, somebody they hate?
Right.
This is a preamble to genocide in my mind, and this is, you could call it crazy, you could call me whatever you guys want to call me, but the same thing with the shadow banning and the cancel culture. And when you tell somebody, man, I've been shadow banned, and their first reaction is, well, what did you say? Fuck you.
Whoa.
Fuck you. No, because
why can't someone say, what did you say? Because I might ask that question just to be curious.
Yeah, but the people
be
that
like, what'd you say, dude?
But the people that are asking it to be curious are very different than the people I'm talking about who are essentially victim blaming and saying, well, you shouldn't have said that. Well, you knew the rules. No, that's not how this works. In a world where we live half of our lives, some of us more digitally, That was
so you're saying someone who goes, well, what did you say? Who like says it like that and like
I'll just call it the white women, liberal white women. Okay, so those people have no problem.
Awfuls.
The awfuls have no problem with a digital genocide. They have no problem with a digital gulag. Just disappear in the middle of the night. We're going to take you and put you in the digital gulag. Well, you shouldn't have done what you did. Off to the camp with you, digitally. Right? You can't make money anymore. You can't have your online presence. You can't promote. You can't live in civilized society with the rest of us. Pure bloods. Or us pure digital bloods. You can't, right? You're a dissident. Yeah, so these people to me, man, just to finish up the thought, my biggest problem from the last 3 years is that there's been no acknowledgement of fault for the people that were manipulated, whatever. And then now there's this whole thing about amnesty and, hey, we were just trying to do the right thing. We were working off the knowledge that we had. Okay, fine, whatever. Apologize and acknowledge that what you did was wrong, because otherwise what you are is a threat to my very existence. You weren't wrong. It wasn't a mistake. You are a dangerous rule follower who will turn on me to show them that you're with them. You will tell them that I'm hiding in the attic, and I will be fucking eradicated. But it's okay because you're one of the good people. And that's how I believe. And it's not on me to not believe that anymore. It's on people like that, those awfuls, to prove to me they're not a threat to me. I'm done with them until they show otherwise.
Candice?
Well, I was trying to look up how much that industry makes, like just specifically with kids. It's hard to find, at least at like a quick search, but it's estimated to be over like a $2 billion industry just for the reassignment. That's not taking into account therapy, hormones, everything. So it's a multi-billion-dollar
I've read
industry.
It's $2 million soup to nuts, or
per
nuts.
person.
Per person.
But then you have the hormones, which is forever.
I think it's so. But the beginning of, again, I just read this, and I'm going off the top of my head. I don't have the numbers in front of me or the source, but I read that teenage transition from the beginning, from the therapy to then the actual full transitional therapy, hormones and everything, is $2 million per patient. That's a remarkable. I mean, if you want to talk, so you're talking about like perverse profit incentive?
Well, that you have to look at, you follow the money. That's the obvious one. I've been reading this book. It's called People of the Lie by Scott Peck, M. Peck, I think. And he wrote The Road Less Traveled as well. And he discusses like what is evil and the psychology of evil and then the diagnostics of it. And the way that he describes it is that children experience the most evil because they aren't able to get away from it. They're stuck with their parents. They can't fight. They can't flight. And oftentimes it is parents that are inflicting evil upon them because there's also like they're available.
Literal victims of circumstance.
Right. So it goes to the Munchausen by proxy, and he would absolutely classify that as evil. And it's, what do you do to eradicate evil? We're not even recognizing it anymore. You just said that we're saying that Munchausen by proxy doesn't exist anymore. We see it all of the time.
Well, that's not me that's saying it. That's the they that's saying
it. Yeah. So if they're saying that it's not there, it's a very
gaslighting isn't real. You're just a monster.
And then they say the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing people he wasn't there anymore. So
for people that don't know, Munchausen's by proxy.
Oh, they know it's underneath.
Yeah, it's right here.
No, go ahead.
It's in their lower thirds.
For people that don't know, Munchausen's by proxy, my understanding is when you convince somebody else that they're sick.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, it's you benefiting from being the caregiver, like gotcha. I'm taking care of you. It's like getting something out of someone's misery or illness.
And in some cases,
like, you need me.
Well, in some cases, it metastasizes itself into like actually like poisoning somebody. Effect. No, like actually poisoning somebody to keep them sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like microdosing arsenic so that somebody is sick, and then you get to go to the parties and be like, oh my God, I can't believe how hard your life is. This is my cross to bear. My child just can't get healthy. And
what's the name of that girl that just got out of jail for killing her mom?
Gypsy Rose. Yeah, that was a horrific story.
So what is going to happen? Are these kids, when they come of age, the ones that are saying, I did not consent to this, are they going to have legal recourse? Are they going to go Gypsy Rose on their parents? Like, what is going to happen?
I don't know. I always thought that we would have some sort of like legal precedent set by now from like Teen Mom, and all those kids be like looking for, like, it happened like 18 years ago now. Teen Mom's almost 20 years old.
Wow.
Like, don't you think I deserve some residuals there? Like, hey, you know, I was kind of the star of the show.
Yeah.
How about you throw me a couple $1, $2, $3?
What's the story with Gypsy Rose? Because I'm unfamiliar.
Gypsy Rose, it's my understanding is the same exact what you were talking about. Her mother was poisoning her
from a young age.
From a very young age.
Yeah, she pulled out all of her teeth.
Yeah.
She had all of these surgeries. So she was like doctor hopping. So she would like these doctors were doing a really shit job at like actually diagnosing her or seeing that there was nothing wrong with her. So she would go from one to the other to keep getting her treated for these things that she was making her sick for.
Yeah.
So this girl was in a wheelchair. She lost her hair. Her teeth were falling out. She was getting fed liquid food because her mom told her she couldn't eat solid food. It was just the most violent thing
and
ever.
The mom was really just, she loved
the attention.
The
martyr.
The martyr.
Yeah.
She was a martyr. There's so much stuff like postpartum and all this, like, you know, it's very, very difficult. And then so basically she killed her mom, and then.
How old was she when she
Well,
killed
I
her
guess
mom?
the boyfriend did, and she like planned it. She didn't get convicted of actually doing the murder.
What happened to the boyfriend?
He's still in jail.
Yeah.
Now she's in love with another man.
Makes you wonder.
Fangool.
Makes you wonder if there's like some sort of genetic manipulation.
Might be something in there. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Let's just avoid those genes.
Those roses.
Yeah, proliferating. Maybe not promulgate those.
Maybe need to nip that one in the bud.
Let's just let that one go up into the ether there. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But now you take that and you multiply that by a military and industrial complex that is weaponizing information systems against these people. So take what happens to somebody like that one monster who, oh my God, that's the worst story I've ever heard. Thank God I don't know anybody like that in my life. And then take somebody who thinks like that and put them in charge of a Operation Bluebird, you know, CIA level brainwashing campaign that uses everything at you know, our internet and our social media at their disposal to convince us that the world is ending. We need degrowth. We need depopulation. It's like industrial Munchausen's. It's what was the effect that people? What was the term that people were using? That then again they said it's not a real thing during the end of COVID. Peter McCullough was talking about it a lot. What was the term that they were using?
Oh, something mass psychosis.
Yes. What was it? What was it? It was mass something psychosis. Mass formation psychosis.
There you go.
Basically, mass formation psychosis, by what he was saying, is that they were attempting to separate people from reality. They were trying to, I mean, it's really, honestly, it's really a really fancy term for brainwashing. It's a fancy term for brainwashing. You're all sick, stay inside until we tell you what to do. And that's what happened. I mean, you can make a very, very, very compelling argument that what Fauci and the CDC did to the entire nation was institutional Munchausen's by proxy. So, yeah. Anybody that supports them, they're my enemy.
Well, we got some ha-has for you guys.
Let's end on with a laugh.
Now, Candice wouldn't let us watch this one before. She wanted our genuine reactions.
So
here we
good.
go, from Clips and Gigs with X's on the eyes.
Nigerians speak so poetic when they're upset. Instead of saying, I'm mad, they'll say, my enemies have succeeded.
I've got like 2 of those in my tweets of the week. So yeah, continue. Run it.
Oh my days. So I jumped into the comments on this thread, yeah?
Okay.
Wow. So I don't have the same ones as you, because mine are from the comments.
Bet.
So someone said, my Niger professor once said, they've made an assassination attempt on my life when he slipped on a piece of paper.
So dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
Assassination attempt.
Bro.
Oh.
Instead of saying he's full, my Nigerian friend says his waistband is suffering.
But we are too poetic with it. We are too poetic with it.
His waistband is suffering.
Wow.
Shut up, bro.
Yeah.
Too poetic, but it's too funny. Instead of saying someone is stupid, my Nigerian friend said, wisdom is chasing her, but she's faster. Bro, wisdom is chasing her, but she is faster. Oh, God. My dad, what will kill me has not yet been born. Nigerians speak so
What has killed me has not yet been born.
I'm so jealous. I wish I grew up in Nigeria
I
now.
have a Nigerian friend immediately.
Wow, that is so.
I'm missing out.
Don't you think, like, when you hear British people talk too, you're just like, man, I think we might have fucked up with education in America. They're all like so smarter than us. They all seem so much more eloquent. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know what it is, but they all like their syntax is so much better. Like, you know, their access to, like, I don't know any what Nigerians sound like. I could be like, yo, hooty hoo. Like, that's, I don't know what the fuck, man. Like, shit. My waistband is suffering.
All of those. That's like the 5th time I've seen it, and it doesn't stop hitting. It's so good.
It reminds me of like Oscar Wilde, like 18th century, 19th century, like how these guys would talk shit to each other via like letters, long form letters. What's one of Winston Churchill's best quotes about one of his political opponents? It was like he has none of the vices I admire and all the virtues I disdain. Like that's what he said about the guy. It's like,
it is eloquent.
Yeah, it's awesome. What a great way to like. It's like, is that a compliment? Is that a compliment? I don't think that's a compliment.
My enemies have succeeded.
Yeah.
You can just imagine you're walking and the coffee spills on your shirt. My enemies have succeeded.
It's so good.
Perfect. I would have, if I knew this existed, when we were on the flight back from Vegas, and I kept getting bumped into and woken up, and I would have just kept under my breath as I'm huddled up on the flight. My enemies have succeeded. Like, the whole time. It's so great. I don't see any way I'm not using that for the rest of my life. I think that's dope.
All of them.
That's tattooed on my brain now. What were the other ones?
Wisdom is chasing her, but she's faster.
Well, what was the waistband one when he was full? My waistband is suffering. Yeah. I have some Nigerian friends. I got to see if they got some cool slangs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Come on. Yeah. Any of them, you're welcome.
Get Adamu on here.
What was the Nigerian radio host where they were talking about inner beauty? That's one of my favorite clips of all time. Have you seen this? No. Stop talking about inner beauty. Men do not have x-rays to see inside. If you are ugly, just say that you are ugly. It was so funny, dude. It's so funny. I love this. And I love the 18th century, the Victorian slangs. We have to figure out a way to make these things. We got to what was it? We got what you want? Catch these daddies or something like? What was it? What were they?
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember them. We'd have to look it back up.
They were great also. We got to figure out a way to like mesh these two things together.
Put on some merch.
I remember some of them, but yeah.
My enemies have succeeded.
That's a good one.
What a t-shirt. Copyright, we call it.
Dibs.
Yeah,
Dibs, we call it.
We already got it. Go to our website.
Oh, wow, that's like old school white guy shit. Be like, hey, cool thing you got over there in Africa. It's mine now.
Well, on that note, guys.
So wrong. I'm sorry. It's instinctual, I guess. I apologize.
Piece of shit. Piece of garbage. All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of Cancel Weekly. We knew we'd get canceled somewhere towards the end. Gerard's trying to culturally appropriate. And that's pretty much it. I'm Mickey Gall. It's Candice Horbatch. Gerard Michaels. See y'all next week. Peace.